Welcome, regular session of Nogales Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting, 5 p.m. Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, City Hall Complex Council Chambers. Would you please call this meeting to order? Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you do us the honor?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. No call to the public, Ms. Judy? Okay, number 4, Director's Report, Financial Report.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Starting with our occupancy report for the month. Public housing, we have 217 existing leases. We have 3 units ready to lease, 0 in turnaround status, and we have 6 offline for modernization for a total of 226 units. We had 1 move-in, however, we had 2 move-outs. We had 0 transfers and 3 out of 8 scheduled interviews showed up. And we're still sticking to our 98%, which is 217 out of 220 available units leased. On our waiting list, we have 104 for 1-bedroom units, 63 2-bedroom, 25 for 3-bedroom, 6 for 4-bedroom, and 1 for 5-bedroom. On our maintenance side, we completed 90 out of 99 work orders. The 9 that are pending were actual annual inspections that were recorded on 3/31. So those 9 will roll over to April. Units in turnaround status here, we have 1. Units that were actually made ready, 2. And we had 7 callbacks. Any questions on public housing before I move on to section 8?
My question was, are we, do you continue to take applicants and all that? That's a ongoing thing?
Yes. For public housing, our waiting list has been open continuously for our housing choice vouchers. We just opened it in November, this past November, and we still have it open, and we'll hold it open until we reach a limit where it's just global.
Back in January, you did a reconsideration, and we dropped because some of the waiting lists we're not waiting no more, and all of a sudden boom, we keep on going.
And it's actually been so busy this past month. It's amazing. So we only take applications, walk-in applications in person on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do accept online applications 24/7, but the Tuesdays and Thursdays have been unbelievable. Our traffic is amazing going in there.
Well, do any of these families, besides our services, have the funding to do, out in the public regular rentals or anything? How short are we in housing? That's where I'm trying to get, and is, are these just low income that they need the support, or?
It varies. I see what your question is. It varies. We have very, very low income, and then we just need affordable housing. But yes, in a nutshell, overall, throughout the county, we're short in housing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Housing choice vouchers, 177. Executed leases, we have 155. On the street vouchers, we have 9. Available vouchers, 13. Leaving us with, again, the total of 177. I want to take a little time there just to explain exactly how this works. We have the 9 on the street, which means that they've been assigned. So going back to our waiting list actually opening, we started taking applicants from the list as they come in according to their points on the waiting list. And if they qualify, if they're eligible, we go ahead and assign the voucher. So now you see that we have 9 vouchers on the street. They take this voucher and go find their own housing. So it's housing choice voucher. They'll go out throughout the county and try to find housing that matches their limits, the rent that they can afford, what they're eligible for. And those vouchers do have an expiration. If they do not find a choice, they don't have a good choice or find something that fits or matches them, then they can come back and ask for an extension. But that's the difference when we actually see the lease in place opposed to the vouchers available versus the vouchers out on the street, just so you understand how that turns out. We had 0 move-ins. We had 3 move-outs, 6 out of 6 interviews. We had 1 poured out, 1 poured in, and we have 206 on the waiting list. So there's that poured in, Commissioner Bojorquez, that we discussed last month. When you asked if we had any, it was applied to this month, the one that I knew was pending. On the project-based vouchers, we have 20 project-based vouchers. All 20 are taken. So we don't have any on the street. We don't have any available. We had 1 move-in. Last month we were down. We had 19 in there. Now we have all 20 again, and we have 33 on the waiting list. Stability vouchers, the 5 that were assigned to Nogales Housing, we have 4 executed under voucher and 1 that's poured out. Emergency housing vouchers, out of the 15 that were allocated, we have 10 under lease and 1 that is poured out. Any questions on that? Yes, sir.
Yes, Maritza, regarding the apartment units that we don't have enough in the community, has the housing authority tried to attract any new landlords or new apartment units to the voucher program?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have, and we do have landlords. The thing that we're dealing with right now and trying to figure out and establish is the actual rent amount and what these families are eligible for. So our biggest shortage is 1-bedroom units. So some of our families might be able to afford a 2-bedroom unit, even though on paper it seems like they're oversized, is what we call it when it's too big. But if the price is right within their limits, then it's okay. We go ahead and approve that. But that is our biggest challenge right now, is the 1-bedroom units.
So when you overhouse somebody, do you put them there temporarily, and then when you find an adequate size apartment for them, you move them into that one?
Within our public housing, yes, we do. HCV, we try not to do it because we don't have that flexibility, but with public housing, we do.
HUD doesn't really look too much at overhousing on the Section 8 program, right? Okay. Have any landlords dropped out of the program?
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
And we have had a lot of inquiries.
And going back to Chairman Maldonado's question regarding the waiting list, are you purging the list, the waiting list, regarding, to the people on the waiting list report like every 5 months or something like that they're still interested in staying in the waiting list, or
Our purge takes place once a year, and it takes place in
once a year?
December.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. On the back, we have our budget for the month. Administrative expenses. Out of the 368,170, we've expended 357,916 and 34 cents, leaving us with a balance of 10,253.66 cents. Tenant services, $8,610 allocated, $495.44 expended, with a balance of $8,114.56. Utility expenses, $304,290 originally allocated, $295.61.42 expended, with a balance of $9,228.58. Ordinary maintenance and operations, $830,700 originally allocated, $611,523.78 has been expended, leaving us with a balance of $219,176.22. Insurance expenses, $143,900. Expended $82,929.75 from that, leaving us with $60,970.25. Total balances as of March 31st, 2025, allocated $1,655,670, expended $1,347,926.73, with a balance of $307,743.27 to close out our year with some accruals that might go into that balance. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I think that was going to be my question. This is from the balance from the last fiscal year budget, right?
Yes, sir.
307,000.
Yes, but that's not including accruals. So the next 2 months, when we bring everything in, so we have until the end of May to completely close out our year, then we'll have exact figures.
When you close the fiscal year?
Yes, sir. Yes, but it did end on the 31st. But our official closeout, we have up to May 31st to officially close everything out. We still have some stuff coming in, some accruals from our last fiscal year.
31st of March.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Commissioner Doyle.
I kind of want to just go over that last figure, the three figures you gave, just to check on my hearing. I heard 1,847,000, but I've got on the paper 1,347,000.
If I said 8, it was my mistake,
No,
but it's
I
3.
just want to see what.
No, it is a 3.
I think I'm going to have to put my hearing aid on just to
No,
be
it
on
is
the
a
safe
3.
side. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So clarification, 1,347,926.73.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
On our grants, if we go down to 2022, are allocated $730,172, out of which $684,210,076 have been obligated, and $683,403.77 have been expended, leaving us with a balance of $45,961.24, which we have until May 11th of 26 to finish spending. On the 23 grant, $747,802 were allocated. We obligated $680,891.39. We've expended $410,329.98, with a balance of $66,910.61 to be fully expended by February 16th of 2027. Any questions on our grant funding?
Any questions? When will we see some numbers on 24?
When they let us draw it down. I'm working on it.
Thank you.
We're still waiting on the 2021 issue to be cleared to release the funds for 2024.
Okay.
But it's on the grant. On the grant for 2022, the obligation was last year, 5/11/2024,
Yes, sir.
and we still haven't obligated the total amount, right?
No, as long as we obligate 90% by the obligation date, then we have until the complete disbursement end date to spend all that. And off to the right, that's why I have the percentage there. So we had 94% obligated by the obligation end date. And for 23, we had 91% actually obligated by the obligation end date, which was February 16th.
Does HUD have any concerns with that?
No, that's their rule. As long as we obligate the 90% by the obligation date,
Okay.
which is what was questioned in 21, which is why we don't have the 24 yet.
Okay.
Any other questions on the budget?
Thank you, Commissioner Majorquez. No? Any questions?
And I just have a couple of other things in addition to that. I did receive, dated March 24th, was an audit closing letter. So with the corrective action that we provided as evidence of our efforts to ensure compliance, the HUD field office has officially closed the one finding that we had for last year's audit. So we're done with that one. And the 5-year plan that you approved and we submitted that was due in January has also been accepted and approved by HUD. And that's all I have for today's meeting, unless you have other questions I could entertain.
Commissioner Majorquez?
Has everybody done their training with the HUD? I mean, the commissioners?
No, sir, I'm still missing some.
Is it still in the finding,
Yes, it's a pending finding from
in the correction
Sorry.
action plan?
the last time.
So how many are we pending?
1, 2, 3, 4. It's because I'm counting. I have 3 and there's 7. I have 3 and there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was counting. I have 3 out of 7, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead,
I
go
missed
ahead.
one other thing. As per our conversation last meeting, we did speak about the policy, and I went ahead and printed it out and brought it to you guys for your review. I'm open, suggestions, recommendations. We could bring it back. This policy was in place before I started, and it has to be approved by you before I submit it to HUD. So please feel free to read through it, review it, ask questions, add concerns, anything you might have. We're open to that. That's why I provided it.
So when do we need to confirm it, and do we have a deadline?
No. It was because Mr. Doyle had some questions and concerns about the landscaping. That's what it is.
Okay.
And I said that I would provide you a copy of what was in place in case you wanted to revisit it and change anything on it. That's why it was provided.
Do the residents get copies of that, of the?
Yes,
policy?
they all have to sign. They keep a copy and we keep a copy in their file.
Okay. sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any future agenda items? Commissioners? No? Go ahead, Commissioner Para.
I just have a question. How do you follow up if, like, I'm seeing, the warnings and then they have to pay out of pocket? What's the repercussions if they continue not to do it?
It's a violation of their lease and they could be terminated. And or depending, because one of the ones there is that we actually go clean and charge them at their expense. That's the only one that actually includes that. Other policies just have 1 or 2 violations and then you could be terminated.
And have you had success on collecting when they get to this stage?
They usually don't get to that stage. Yeah, they'll move on it usually for the most part. They do move on it. It's been a lot of work. They really didn't have procedures established. And then when we were left without an inspector, it became even harder. But now our new inspector's on board and he's really adamant about what he needs to do and being out there and being visible and following up with what our policy says. When I first sat down with the team, it was very discouraging and saying, well, nothing happens. Well, we need to make it happen, and we need to set the example as well. So it's not like I'm going to throw a landscaping policy on somebody if we're not upkeeping our own areas and whatnot. So fair is fair, and we have to, teach and set the example as well. So it's not something that is new to them. Like I said, this policy has been in place. I wouldn't be able to tell you how long because it's been a long time. But it is something that is fully implemented. The one that we're having new discussions over because it wasn't fully enforced, and I am enforcing it and our tenants are not liking it, but it's for their own security and safety, is our parking policy. But besides that, our tenants are okay with everything else. You're welcome.
Commissioner,
Maritza, this landscaping policy, don't we have one already on the ACOP, on the continued occupancy?
So our ACOP is our living policy book within our administration. But then from there, you actually get a policy for our tenants to sign. So there's no way that we're going to obligate our tenants to read the whole ACOP or the whole admin plan, which is about this thick. So we pull out what really applies to them for their daily living. And that's what this narrows down to. And this is just the actual landscaping one. We have all kinds of policies that apply to them. But this is derived from what's already there.
Do you include this in their contract when they sign the contract?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what it is.
And there's also a pet policy, right?
Yes.
You include that one too? It's a short one.
There's a pet policy, a parking policy, a housekeeping policy, the landscaping policy, and the list goes on. And that's just a few that are actually pulled out from the ACOP or the admin.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you. Any commissioners, any more comments? Anita? No? Okay. That's it. Move to adjourn this meeting. All in favor? All in favor? All right. Opposed?